How do you not get completely anxious and terrified at the state of the world today? I actually disabled my Facebook account in January and my mental health has dramatically improved. Not having a stream of awful news and awful people being fed to you 24/7 is a great first step. Getting off social media. Before, if something bad happened, unless it was something global, it was relegated to page 7 of the local paper or on the 10 p.m. local news. Now everybody can see all the bad things all over the world happening in real time, en masse. It changes your way of thinking, how you perceive the world. You think, it was never like this in the old days. We didn't have all these terrible things happening one after another. Yes it was. Millions of terrible things happened every day: kidnappings, domestic violence, school shootings, drug addiction, child molestation, people put in prison by their government, famine, starvation, war, etc., etc. You just didn't really know about it. I've decided to basically ignore it and move on because there's no point in me worrying about it. I just realize it's probably better to live now than in the Dark Ages. Because the state of the world has always been shit. Humans have always believed that things used to be better and now it's getting worse. Nothing special, nothing new, want change. A good portion of nihilism and absurdism. Close your computer and put your phone away. I don't even know about all the shit that's going on in my city because, naturally, I wouldn't know. And #X200B. You're only aware if you're stuck to a screen. Things are actually better today than basically any other point in history. There's less war, less poverty, and people live longer lives. Literally every objective measure you can think of is better today than at almost any point in history. I read a book called The Rational Optimist. It may help you feel better about things. We definitely have major challenges we have to face as a civilization. I have no reason to expect we can't figure things out or adapt. Over the years I have gotten much better at focusing my anxiety on situations where I can and should be doing something and am not, versus things I can't really do anything about. This makes anxiety a tool. This has the added bonus of focusing me on the more immediate and tangible things in my life, as that correlates. 1. I don't use any social media except for Reddit and YouTube. 2. I am not immortal. 3. I will not be having any children. I pay very close attention to what I can control and make peace with the idea that everything else is just something that I have to live with. Easy. What's the point of being scared? What kind of a life would we be living if we were in constant fear? Humans have come through difficult times before, and we can do it again, but not by being scared. Live in the moment. Be glad you're alive today. Be glad you have things and people you love, and don't get worked up over something we can't control. Lol. My granddad survived Holodomor. WW2. My parents were born second-class citizens into a war-ravaged dictatorship. What am I mad about? Twitter? GDFU. We're literally living in the best times. Turn off social media. Years of severe, often suicidal depression has left me unable to feel much of anything. Spending nearly a decade wanting to die has a way of making you utterly unconcerned about most things, so I can look at shit as it is now and just shrug. It'll probably end badly. Whatever. Honestly, the world was worse in the past. People look back with rose-tinted glasses. We live in a time with minimal wars compared to the past. COVID is but a drop compared to past epidemics. The job market is relatively stable. In the developed world, politics is very centralized compared to past. Sure, the world is worse than it was in, say, 2018 or 2019, but it's a lot better than 1918 or 1919. Maybe I just have anxiety. That's my secret cap, I'm always anxious. Turn off news, dumbass. It's very easy. Beer, and a lot of it. What is something you were bullied for growing up that has now become a trend? My freshman year of college in the early 90s, my roommates all made fun of me and called me a hillbilly for wearing flannel, plaid shirts. Then Nirvana and grunge blew up and it was a sea of flannel as far as the eye could see. Glasses. Since last decade's nerd culture boom, literally everything. Korean food. Kimchi and lettuce wraps were not cool when I was a kid. My lunches when I was in kindergarten, my mom used to pack me some bento boxes: rice, seaweed, tea, egg, some meat and veggies. All my classmates and sandwiches, so they made fun of my lunches that required a spoon and fork instead of handheld food. Now my coworkers pay over $10 for the same bento boxes my mom used to make me. I used to get bullied for my thick eyebrows. Now I get complimented. Weird to hear, I like your eyebrows. Never thought that would be something to compliment. I grew up poor in elementary school and sometimes my jeans or shorts would have holes and tears in them where they were wore out. Now I see people buying jeans new from the store and that already have holes and tears. Little did they know I was livin' 20 years in the future. Wearing hand-me-down clothes. Now it's vintage and cool to shop at places like Goodwill or secondhand stores. Bushy eyebrows. I wound up plucking them to death in the 90s and they've never recovered. For eating weird food. I'm Indian. My mum used to make me biryani for my school lunches, and other kids would give me such shit for it. A common refrain was, "Ew. Why are you eating yellow food?" Now everyone's losing their damn minds over turmeric and acting like it's going to cure cancer, or some shit. I'm here like, y'all bastards made fun of me for years for eating turmeric, now you're putting it in your lattes. SMH. Being a girl who liked boy things, like video games, action figures, sci-fi, etc. Having a big butt. Women have surgery to get butts like I've always had now. But being a young person in the late 90s, early 2000s when the trend was to be underweight with a flat ass was loads of fun. Having ample booty. Being a nerd, programming computers, playing D&D, playing musical instruments and building stuff out of electronics and or mechanical components. My friends and I got picked on a lot for this in the late 80s and early 90s. It seemed to subside until the early 2000s, when a bunch of guys with beards and tattoos showed up and told us to get out of their space. We're doing nerd stuff, and you wouldn't understand it, they'd say. Thick eyebrows. Big lips. Comic books. Like, I had a cool symbiote Spider-Man shirt. But I didn't dare wear it in school. Now there are cheerleaders wearing Thor shirts, and people on the street know who the Guardians of the Galaxy are. Granted, none of the characters they know were in the Guardians that I grew up with. But they know the title. Hey. When I was a kid only _nerds_ used computers. Now y'all carry one around with you and can't imagine life without it. We win. Being a redhead. My hair. I have tons of it and it's very curly. Sometimes my cousins would call me Marge Simpson. Then natural hair care actually became a thing and I learned to embrace my hair. Now it's my signature. I get stopped a few times a week, sometimes a few times a day, by people to tell me they love my hair. ETA. Thanks for the silver.